Well, good evening and welcome. My name is Bruce Smith. I'm the pastor at Vancouver First United Methodist Church. If you're a regular at Vancouver First and you haven't met me yet, it's because I've only been here a few weeks. If you're not a regular here, I don't know that. It's just everybody is a regular as far as I know. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. And very glad to welcome the Starfire singers here. You might not know that Pastor John Short, who was here before I was, he has had Starfire singers at other places that he was the pastor of. So they've been following John's appointments around for a few different years. So this is one of the last ministry efforts that we get to benefit from of John's ministry with Vancouver First. So it's a little bit touching for me really even to say that, but we're very glad that you are here. And Pastor Dirk is one of their leaders here, and he's going to tell you more about what they do.
Thank you, Bruce, and thank you all of you. This is our first time as the Starfire Singers to come to Vancouver First, and we've just been so grateful for your incredibly warm welcome, for the wonderful potluck that I think we were all super well fed. There's probably some cheering kids back there. There they are. And yeah, we've been holding you all in prayer as you've grieved the loss of John. He was a friend, and we had known him back from the days he was at Mason, and have gone to Kent when he was there, and we're looking forward to being here with him, and we do more in his passing, and we are grateful for his life of ministry, and we're grateful to all of you for being here and for this wonderful welcome. A couple things I want to let you know about what's happening tonight. First, we'd like to ask you if you wouldn't mind silencing your cell phones. Actually, turn them off if you don't mind. The show's just a little more than an hour, and you can probably go an hour without being bothered by text messages, and if they're off, they don't interfere with our microphone system. So thanks for that. Following the performance, we will be receiving an offering, and the offering, every church we go to on tour, we've so far been up I-5 all the way as far north as Bellevue, and we're kind of headed back down. We go back up to Olympia, but anyway, we're on our way back down to California, and every church we go to, we ask the church to select a cause for the offering to go to. We don't keep any of the money for us, and we cover our tour expenses in other ways. And your church has selected the Encore free concert series, and we're delighted to be supporting that and to encourage you to give generously. You'll hear a little bit more about that at the end of the show. I do want to tell you a little bit about CJ Cafe. We have some people here who actually have been a part of the CJ Cafe for 20 years. 20 years ago, my wife Carol and I wrote a show called CJ Cafe for the Starfire Singers. And that tells the story of a guy named Ben who started a cafe, and he got these two baristas to work for him named Claire and Jordan, and he ended up turning the cafe over to them. We did that show in '99. We did it again in 2000. It was a show that really resonated with us and with the folks who saw it, and so we brought it back again in 2007. And this year we were thinking, well, what do we want to do for a show? As Carol and I were talking about it, and we don't want to do the same show again, but we did think, maybe we should go back and see how the CJ Cafe is doing. CJ Cafe is a vision for the church, and it's a vision for what we believe the church is called to be, who we're called to be, a church that's welcoming and inclusive and listens to people's stories and accepts everyone, and we all grow together. And so part of what we wondered is, well, is that still who we're being called to be? Is that still who the church is striving to be? And so this show picks up kind of where CJ Cafe left off. So at the very beginning, you're going to see up on the screen there the two young women who played Claire and Jordan 12 years ago when we did it, back in 2007. Their names are Marissa and Jenny. What you're going to see, though, is them telling their actual stories, not as the characters anymore, but as what's happened with them since they graduated from high school and moved on from the CJ Cafe. And I think you'll find their stories very compelling, as they have truly been people who have been changing the world. After that, you're going to see up on that screen the very final scene of the CJ Cafe that we did 12 years ago. You don't have to take notes on any of this. You'll figure it out along the way. And from there, we pick up and we take you to the CJ Cafe in 2019. And I think you'll see that we still have some hope for who we're called to be and who the church can be. So thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting this wonderful encore ministry, and thank you for supporting our choir tour. We are delighted to present to you CJ Cafe, Building on Our Dreams.
Jordan, how are you? It's been a while.
It has. A memory from Facebook popped up. It was from 12 years ago, the day that Ben left us in charge of the CJ Cafe.
I got that one too. I can't believe it's been 12 years.
I know, time really flies. Remember how scared and confused we were? We thought Ben was crazy turning it over to us. I didn't think there was any way we could do it.
I know, but as always, he saw something we just hadn't seen yet, and it ended up being one of the best things I've ever done.
Me too. And I'm so glad we got to do that together.
It was so amazing, and now it sounds like Eva and Jamie are keeping it going and doing a really great job together.
It sure does. They're really honoring the tradition that started with Ben and also moving forward in new directions and new ways to change the world. Speaking of changing the world, it sounds like you're doing really awesome things. Didn't I read that you were selected as one of Forbes 30 under 30 in Europe?
Yeah, my co-founder and I made the list this year for our work with the Center for Feminist Foreign Policy. Basically with the idea that foreign policy needs little help right now, and we think feminist foreign policy is the best way to do that. So we're working to kind of tackle these really institutional problems of racism, sexism, really strong colonial legacies, capitalist leanings, to make foreign policy that really works for people. Feminist foreign policy basically boils down to the idea that people who are affected by policy decisions should be sitting at the table making those decisions. The idea of nothing about them without them. It was really incredible to get that kind of recognition.
That sounds amazing.
Thank you. Tell me about you. Tell me about your farm to table stuff.
Yeah, so we're up here in northern Vermont, and we're working to build a farm-to-table kind of concept with a chef's table, private events, doing wedding and catering, as well as cooking classes. And our big thing is that we're trying to create a community full of transparency with our food system, so, knowing where everything comes from your sugar to your meat to your vegetables to your oil, as well as creating a place full of radical hospitality and sustainability while partnering with our local community and farmers and supporting the local community through outreach as well. In some ways, it seems like so far away from when we left the CJ Cafe.
No, and in some ways, it's like we never left.
Yeah, true. Still changing the world.
Still carrying the message from here.
How can we go on? Who will sing our song? We've barely begun to learn. How soon will you return?
How can you leave us? See how you grieve us. Won't you believe us? We need you. We need you. Don't you see you've always had it with you? Don't you see you've had it all along? Don't you see it everywhere around you? Don't you hear it sung in every song? When you hear the truth, the voice inside you, it shouts aloud that you have got it right. When you share the truth, the life within you, it shines from you, a brilliant guiding light. You've got to carry it far, carry it near, make it loud for all to hear. You can carry on from here. Carry it far, carry it near, make it loud for all to hear. You must carry the message on from here.
Well, it started with a dream and some people who believed, and together they created a cafe where different people came and they shared their own ideas and they listened to what others might say. With one eye on the prize and another on the task and a couple of feet planted on the earth, they connected with the truth that everyone belongs and that everyone is sacred worth. We still find our heart's desire when we let our souls catch fire. With the love that from each one streams, we are building, building, building on our dreams. Well, the dreaming hasn't stopped and the vision doesn't end, and we still have such a long way to go. So we honor where we've been and we pick up some new friends and we listen to the things they know. We struggle and we try, always lifting up our eyes to the light that guides us all in a way. For the hearts and minds of hands that have brought us to today, we agree but more than words can say. We still find our heart's desire when we let our souls catch fire. With the love that from each one streams, we are building, building, building on our dreams. We have seen all God's people as one. We have seen what we can become. The dream is still all that we can be when we share in God's community. We still find our heart's desire when we let our souls catch fire. With the love that from each one streams, we are building, 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 building on our
Okay, pull up a chair, everybody. Welcome to World Changers. Our mission is to provide for the basic needs of the community and beyond. Clothing, housing, shelter, that kind of stuff.
I love this place. Haven't been here in a couple of years.
I know. It's so good to know that it's still here. Well, it will be a great meeting spot for us. Now let's get to work.
First, let's prioritize the most pressing needs and talk about how we can address them.
I hope you guys like this place. Members of our group have been coming here for years.
It seems perfect. It's centrally located, and we can mobilize from here to stage protests and demonstrations.
And it's a great environment to draft legislation.
You think everywhere is a great environment to draft legislation?
Well, yeah, it is.
Hey, my uncle used to come to Bible study here.
Yeah, this is where it all started.
We've come a long way since then.
We have. We're still rooted in Scripture, but now it's about how we live out our faith.
Amen, and it's so great to be here in such a welcoming place.
Eva, these groups have such different agendas. Do you think CJ Cafe will ever really bring people together?
Oh, it will, and it does, Jamie. This is a place where people can come together. A place where they feel welcome. A place where ideas about changing the world just seem to happen.
But it just seems like each group is so isolated. It really seems like they're talking about different things.
They are, for now.
I don't know. Ben started this great place, and Claire and Jordan continued the work that he started. And they passed it on to us. And we've been doing it for a while now, but I'm just not sure things are really moving forward anymore. I thought it would be different.
How so?
Well, like more unified, more united towards a common goal.
Sometimes people are more united than they first appear.
Maybe, but I doubt Ben or Claire or Jordan thought we'd still be so isolated in these separate camps all these years later. Why are there still such separate groups? Why aren't the people coming here? Where are those people, you know? The ones who are willing to risk something big for something good? I know it's hard to do. It's been hard for me, but it's worth it. And we need those people to gather here.
Well, remember Ben's motto posted above the bar. The people who need to find this place will find it.
You think that's still true?
I know it's still true.
I hope you're right.
12 years.
Has it really been 12 years?
It was 12 years ago that he walked out the door and he said goodbye. Someone cried, said it'd never be the same.
But look now.
Do you think we really changed?
Oh, we've grown and we've changed, painted walls rearranged, and we're seeing more. Beyond that door, guess it's never been the same.
Yesterday turned quickly into now, and all I'm thinking about is what's beyond the walls.
What's your passion? Find your people, dream about a big tomorrow. This could be your call. A call to do something that's big and bold. Come on now, you've got a hand to hold, dreams to mold, I've been told.
What if I'm not sure which way to go? What if my dreaming is far too slow? Where to go? I don't know. But somewhere past the door, I know there's so much more. Something in my heart keeps nudging me to start.
Oh, walk alongside me. There's a different way to see. Risk is where we start. Oh, risk will change your heart.
Yesterday turned quickly into now, and all I'm thinking about is what's beyond the walls.
What's your passion? Find your people, dream about a big tomorrow. This could be your call. This could be your call.
This could be the start. This could be the place where we will make our mark.
Hey there, welcome to the CJ Cafe. Is this your first time here?
Yup, it's my first time, but I've heard about it for quite a while.
Yeah, the group we're a part of, World Changers, got its start here.
Really? When was that?
Back when Ben was the proprietor, more than a decade ago. A bunch of people who didn't think they had anything in common realized that they shared a passion for making the world better.
And they found that together they could take the steps to change the world.
And from those first steps out into the world, this group formed. We're committed to doing concrete things to make a difference.
Right. We have people who serve breakfast every Saturday for the homeless, groups that make really great bag lunches, and we help with meals at lots of the local shelters.
And we partner with schools and churches to collect coats, PJs, and warm blankets.
And we work alongside local restaurants, sharing food that would be otherwise thrown away.
Where there's a need, we try to find ways to meet it.
And we don't do it alone. We partner with community agencies, faith communities, and civic organizations. We're better together.
Right. That first group of people was made up of people with different interests, religious beliefs, political affiliations. But once they stopped focusing on those things, they all agreed that the thing that matters most is meeting people's immediate needs.
And there are so many needs.
If the children ask for bread, you don't give them a stone.
If the people cry for help, you don't leave them alone. If the hungry want some fish, you don't give them a snake. If we want to do some good, we gotta stay awake.
Before anything else, we gotta meet the needs. Before making the speech, we gotta do the deeds. Hungry people don't care if we're red or blue. What we say doesn't help, only what we do. We gotta meet the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, meet the needs.
If the homeless need shelter, you don't make a speech.
If the jobless need a job, you don't simply preach. If the lonely need a friend, you don't turn them away. If the poor need assistance, no matter what we say.
Before anything else, we gotta meet the needs. Before making the speech, we gotta do the deeds. Hungry people don't care if we're red or blue. What we say doesn't help, only what we do. We gotta meet the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Systems do need changing. First hungry mouths need feeding. Politics do matter, but what our people need? Bread and love and water for every son and daughter. A place that's safe and warm, a shelter from the storm. Before anything else, we gotta meet the needs. Before making the speech, we gotta do the deeds. Hungry people don't care if we're red or blue. What we say doesn't help, only what we do. We gotta meet the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. We gotta meet the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs.
See, the point is there are hungry people here, now.
We step over the homeless people almost every day, or cross to the other side of the street, or just put on blinders and pretend that we don't know they're even there.
Right. But they're here, all around us. Their needs are real and they are desperate.
It's really about survival.
As long as people are falling off the grid, falling into poverty, we need to be sure that there is a safety net there to catch them.
And catch them now. You know that old saying, give a hungry person a fish, you feed that person. Teach a hungry person to fish, and you feed a village? Well, that's all well and good. But if that person is too weak to fish, they need to eat first.
It's all about first things first. As long as they're hungry, hurting people, nothing else matters.
gotta start at square one. If you gather up your people, you can overcome all the obstacles awaiting you on the road. See how together we can lighten the load. We got the power to feed the poor. We got compassion and so much more for the hungry and the thirsty and the empty cup. It only takes a couple fish to change it all up. Oh, first things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. If you wanna get to heaven, gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, gotta give it. First things first, gotta give it. Give it, give it, give it, give it. Now, if you wanna get to heaven, well, this is how.
Nothing else matters if no one starts. Quit dragging your heels and be smart. Think about the people whose lives were changed when we work to make a difference in His name. We got the power, let's give it away. We got the power that comes when we pray for the troubled and the thirsty and the weary hearts. With bread and fish together, that's a mighty good start.
First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. If you wanna get to heaven, gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, gotta give it. First things first, gotta give it. Give it, give it, give it, give it. Now, if you wanna get to heaven, well, this is how. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Give 'em a fish. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. If you wanna get to heaven, gotta give 'em a fish. Give 'em, give 'em, give 'em, give 'em, give 'em a fish.
I get their point, but I still think they're missing the bigger picture.
Of course they are. We all miss the bigger picture to some degree. But don't worry. Be open. Let it unfold and see what happens.
Okay.
I can't believe we're back at the CJ Cafe. I love this place.
Our group got its start here. From the beginning, we met here to organize and plan ways to disrupt the system, to raise awareness.
But we evolved into a group that was committed to social change by bringing down the systems of oppression that created the conditions that lead to poverty.
The reasons that people are hurting.
Exactly. In those early days, everybody in the cafe went out and did service projects, meeting the needs of the people right where they were. And that was great as far as it goes. The needs had to be met. But some of us wanted to do more. So our focus became strategizing ways to change the system.
That's right.
It's the only way to really change things. Otherwise, we'll be making sandwiches and doing service projects forever.
And really, sandwiches? That's not what we're about. If you want to know the truth, we're about changing the system.
Shelters, still the homeless sleep outside your door. You can broker peace in one place while another goes to war. You can serve soup every weekend, but the thing you can't ignore is it's the system.
We are pouring our resources into buckets filled with holes. We are following the leaders who make policy by polls. So the poor become statistics and non living, breathing souls. And instead of asking why, we're just trying to meet our goals. Yeah, it's the system.
The system that creates these conditions. It's the system that sustains these addictions. Where success is defined by acquisition, and oppressed stay oppressed by definition. By the system. It's time to ask the question why we seem to never learn that until the system changes, we'll still have the same concerns. Service hasn't led to healing, and that leads us to discern that it's the system. It's the system that creates these conditions. It's the system that sustains these addictions. Where success is defined by acquisition, and oppressed stay oppressed by definition. By the system.
See, the thing is, it's good and noble work to feed the hungry and provide shelters to the homeless. But unless we look at the things that are actually causing hunger and homelessness, we'll stay stuck in an endless cycle of charity.
And the one thing for sure about that is it'll burn you out.
And meanwhile, the needs just get bigger and bigger.
And compassion fatigue sets in.
Right. Meeting the needs feels good, but it's the low-hanging fruit. If we really want to make a difference, we have to dig deeper.
The bottom line is as long as there are systems in place that depend on one person profiting at the expense of others, we'll stay stuck in an endless cycle of poverty and injustice.
Which leads to a never-ending cycle of pain, disease, and despair.
And that, in a word, is wrong.
Yeah. And wrong must be made right.
Yeah. It's up to us not just to meet the need, but to right the wrong that has created the need.
Mama always told me, and Daddy told me too, and Grandma told me over and over and over till she turned blue. You've gotta change the system. You've gotta learn to right the wrong. You've gotta figure out a new way so that everyone belongs.
It's not about the sandwich, not about the bread. It's all about equal pay so a family can be fed from the work of their own hands. From a place of pride, not shame. Let's make it happen. I'd like to try if it's all the same.
Right the wrong and let the people all be blessed. Right the wrong and free the people from oppress. The system is broken. It's time to heal it all up. Let's get it all together. Let's be hands up. Right the wrong and let the people all be blessed. Right the wrong and free the people from unrest. The system is broken. It's time to heal it all up. Let's get it all together. Let's be hands up.
Now ain't that something?
Well, they certainly are passionate.
They are, but so are the others. And it almost seems like they're in competition with each other. Meet the needs versus change the system.
There is a human tendency to view a lot of life as competition, to think there's only our way.
That certainly seems to be how they're thinking.
Yeah, for now. Part of the magic of the CJ Cafe is that as people gather here, they begin to see things differently.
Well, I know we've seen that before, but I'm just not sure we're seeing it now.
Sometimes in the moment, you can't be sure of what you're seeing. Our job is to keep doing what we're doing and creating the space for those miracles to happen.
I know. I'm trying.
It's pretty amazing to think it all started here as a Bible study 12 years ago.
Yeah, a lot has happened since then. We've made a lot of progress in our understanding of putting our faith into action.
Not that Bible study is not important. It's still at the heart of growing in our faith.
Right. What we realized, though, after being a part of the CJ Cafe and listening and learning to others, is that we can't help but see it's not enough to just grow inwardly in our faith.
Right. It's not just about personal holiness, but about social responsibility.
I guess it's really just two sides of the same coin.
There's been a lot of conversation about whether we are justified by faith alone or whether it's by good works that we are saved.
Ha! Conversation? More like one of the great theological debates of all time.
Yeah, we studied that though. The book of James says that faith without works is dead. But the Apostle Paul says it's by faith alone that we are saved.
And somehow that's become a big argument.
And on one hand, it's led people to think that they can just buy their way into heaven by doing good things. And on the other, it's led people to think that they don't have to do anything, just profess their belief.
But it's such a false choice. If you really have faith, you can't help but live it out.
Exactly. What we've come to realize is that the two can't be separated. It begins with faith, but the deeper we go into our faith, the more we are called to live out our faith by the good works we do. That's what makes the difference for us. Unless it's an extension of our faith, doing good things just comes up a little bit empty.
Yeah, doing good things is an important part of our faith.
But our faith is an essential part of doing good things.
I think what we've learned more than anything else is that it begins and ends with faith. And that faith leads us deeper into relationship with God and Jesus, and that in turn leads us deeper into relationship with God's world.
It's being the hands and feet of Christ.
Having one foot in the church and one foot in the world.
But always being grounded in the community of faith.
One foot here, one foot there, merge it till let's not be scared to step into the world and watch your faith come walking right alongside. Called to be so much more, living faith beyond the doors, all loving people every day, the least of us a brand new way. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Step out and be filled, be bold and be thrilled, don't disrupt from God's will. Oh, and be still, oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Safe to launch, safe to land, things may change but Christ will stand. Oh, right between the fear and doubt is also a God's love will win out. We got the why, we got the how, we got the vision, let's go now. Yeah, keep on moving forward so the church can live its mission in the world. With one foot here and one foot over there. Step out and be filled, be bold and be filled, don't disrupt for God's will. One foot and be still, oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Step out, step out, step out. Step out, step out, step out. Step out, step out, step out. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Step out, step out, step out. Step out, step out, step out. Step out, step out, step out. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Step out and be filled, be bold and be filled, don't disrupt God's will. One foot and be still, oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there.
Hey, I hope you'll all join us for a special celebration tomorrow.
What kind of celebration?
Oh, well, a CJ kind of celebration.
Pretty much what we've always done, celebrating who we are, the stories we share, and where we can go from here.
Ooh, intriguing.
Just come tomorrow, all of you, and you'll see.
I remember hearing about how Claire and Jordan used to worry about whether or not the people were getting it. Now I understand how they felt.
What do you mean?
Oh, just that this place has always been about people coming together and sharing their own stories for sure, but also listening to each other's stories.
Don't worry, that's still what this place is about.
It just seems like they're still getting pretty caught up in their own stories.
Sure, everybody does. That's been true forever. So we're here not only for them to share, but also to remind them of how important they are to each other.
I just wish we didn't always have to be reminded.
That's just part of living in community. And remember, from the day that Ben first opened up this place, it's been about modeling it after the community disciples that Jesus called together.
And I guess Jesus had to always keep reminding them of the bigger picture.
He did and does. It's our job to live as fully as we can in that beloved community that began over 2,000 years ago. A community of hope, of inclusion, of change.
And always to remember that we have further to go, room to grow.
Exactly. Hold on, I think I have an idea. Follow me.
Whoa. What happened to our table? What's this about, Eva?
Oh, just shaking things up a little. Michael, you sit here.
Okay, but it's kind of weird not to have our table.
No kidding. We're all working on different things. This isn't going to work.
Actually, Tyler, we think this is the only way it'll work.
Each of you is doing some really important work. Some of you are boots on the ground, feeding people and building houses so they're warm in the winter. Some of you are working at a systems level, trying to end the cycle of poverty. And some of you are working from within your churches, doing the best you can to live out your faith.
But what if you came together? What if each of you saw what you're doing as a piece of the puzzle, as part of the bigger picture?
Each of us has something to contribute. Each of us is a piece of the whole.
What if it's true, what everyone said? What if together everyone's right? What if each one is a piece of the whole? What if it's colorful, not black and white? There are systems to change and people to feed, a gospel to live and a world that's in need.
We are each a piece of the whole. Everyone here must play a role in changing the world, in righting the wrong, in creating a place where we all can belong. So find your place and make some more room. Tend to God's garden where everyone blooms. Listen and learn, trust and believe. Open your hearts to the love we receive, then you'll know you're a piece of the whole.
It's easy to think there's only one way, and that way is mine, no ifs, ands, or buts. But when we let blinders limit our view, that's where we get stuck in all kinds of ruts. There's systems to change and people to feed, a gospel to live and a world that's in need.
We are each a piece of the whole. Everyone here must play a role in changing the world, in righting the wrong, in creating a place where we all can belong. So find your place and make some more room. Tend to God's garden where everyone blooms. Listen and learn, trust and believe. Open your hearts to the love we receive, then you'll know you're a piece of the whole. The way to wholeness, the way to change, is sharing solutions, ideas to exchange. The way to healing, the way to hope, is to broaden our vision, widen our scope.
Some of you probably know, and I'm sure a lot of you don't remember, but CJ Cafe started as a way to bring those pieces together. A place where it all made sense.
And that's still what it is.
Yeah, for sure. The guy who started it all, Ben, did it as an expression and a living out of his Christian faith.
Wait, you never said anything about having to be Christian.
No, you're right. I definitely wouldn't have said that. But for here, you don't have to be anything. For Ben, and for Claire and Jordan after him, and for Jamie and me, well, we are Christians. And that means living our life as disciples. For us, that is lived here.
But you just said it's not just about faith, but about all the pieces fitting together.
True. It's all about the pieces. Maybe it's better to think of it as a tapestry, not different pieces that fit together like a jigsaw, but different strands that weave together. Faith weaves through it all, and so does caring for people, and so does working to eradicate injustice and oppression.
So there's room for everyone?
Of course. That's why we created one table. Sometimes this will be the gathering place for people of many different beliefs and points of view. For us, though, first it is a place where we will share communion with each other, a common union, a place where we can come together.
We come together as the body of Christ. We bring our brokenness and the brokenness of our world, and we give it to God. And in that surrendering, we are freed and made whole again.
Without sharing this connection by breaking the bread and sharing the cup, nothing else is possible. With it, all things are possible.
A bigger table's what he said. Room for every kind of bread. A space where all now can be fed together. So break the bread and share the cup. There's a new way, fill us up and send us out into the world together to make a change.
Everything about Jesus, his life, his teachings, his actions, his death, his resurrection is about one thing: love.
More specifically about God's love, and making sure that everyone knows that God's love is for them, no matter who they are or what they've done.
That's why we can no longer sit at separate tables when we are to share this meal together.
The table of God's love is a table that always, always has room for everyone. Together is a reminder both of our brokenness and our being made whole through God's love.
We are broken by our own divisions and by the hurt and suffering in the world.
And we come together to work through those divisions so that we could work together to heal the world.
We share that vision and we recommit ourselves to the vision every time we share this meal together.
Let this prayer from the Iona community be our prayer. Creator of the world and all its people, we are glad that all things are held in your hands. You have not left us alone. And we celebrate the work of your Spirit, encouraging people of the world to work for justice, to speak for the voiceless, and always to anticipate that the best is yet to come.
If, however, we have driven a wedge between piety and peacemaking, erected a wall between prayer and politics, associated the purposes of heaven with only the gentler things of earth, God of justice, show yourself.
If we've offered to false gods the devotions that you alone deserve, if we've dismissed the gospel as irrelevant to the world, God of justice, show yourself.
If we have dumbed down your word and domesticated your spirit because we wanted an easier faith and a tamer dove,
God of justice, show yourself. Wherever in our nations the poor are endangered, the sick are neglected, prisoners are refused redemption, and strangers among us are suspected, God of justice, show yourself.
Wherever in our world the lust for profit undermines the longing for peace, or the greed for power overrides the need for fairness, God of justice,
show yourself. In the prison visitor and the mediator, in vigils for peace and protest to protect the earth, to all who fear for the future of children, for those who long for a different way, God of justice, show yourself.
May God our Maker bless us and wrap us round in love and protection.
May Jesus our brother bless us and ask us the questions that lead us to change the world.
May the Holy Spirit bless us and fill our lives with her courage and wisdom. And may we live bravely in the love of the Trinity all our nights and days. Amen.
From now on, there will be one table at the CJ Cafe.
But what happens when it's full? What do we do then?
That is always the question. Making space for others and making sure we don't close ourselves off to new people or new ideas.
So, how do we do that?
For some of us, maybe that means moving someplace new, bringing the message there, starting something new.
For others, it means starting here, gathering around the table for renewal and inspiration, then going out into the community, into the world to make change.
For all of us, it means staying connected to each other, to this beautiful world, to the message.
The message that is the vision that is the message.
The message of hope, of love, and of welcome for each and all of us.
And carrying that message wherever we go.
Space for all, that's our sacred call. There's room at the table here, let love chase away fear. But what if we forget, we're still not there yet?
are so grateful that you joined us here at the CJ Cafe tonight. And over the past week or so, when people have come in to watch this show, there seems to be a common thread that's running through the conversations after. And the comments we hear, we didn't want it to end. We want more. And to that I say yes. Because it seems like people are hungry for more, thirsty for more. Maybe you're feeling the same way too. Feeling that something you heard tonight is nudging you to push past the doors of this place and the walls of this place, or past what old ways of thinking or being or doing that you're holding on to. Nudging you so that you can live into the fullness of what God has intended for you and for your life and for this world around you. Perhaps tonight is a night for you to begin building your own dreams and on your own dreams, to think boldly, to act courageously, to begin writing the next sequel to this musical. That's our prayer for you. That tonight each one of you will carry from this place a message of hope, of possibility, and of promise. That you will bring that into this world that is so incredibly eager and excited to hear your message of how you will change the world. We're going to begin that right now with an offering. And this is going for a program that this church is involved with that goes and offers concerts of all styles of music. And it's a series that goes on. And, when I started hearing about this program, this concert series, I thought, and they talk so much about, each concert has jazz and pop and Christian, music and classical music. And I thought, that was sort of like this, country, western, rock and roll. And I thought, wow, we're all keeping it together just to bring life and the message to this world. So please, when you give generously so that music can continue to inspire and move people in this world for good. And as we take their offering, I would invite any alumni who are here tonight from this group to come up and sing our final song with us.